You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
It's no big secret that the biggest star in the most popular film franchise, Robert Downey Jr., has some ambitious plans for Sherlock Holmes. Most people haven't been able to wrap their heads around what Robert Downey Jr. has planned for the future, as he has been thinking about turning Sherlock Holmes into the next MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe. Allegedly, Robert Downey Jr., with over a decade of experience working in the MCU, might have influenced this decision. And in today's video, we're going to unravel everything that needs to be known about Robert Downey Jr.'s claim on the Sherlock Universe. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're going to be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to enter the giveaway. It's that simple. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. Using the 1890 historical and cultural setting, Detective Sherlock Holmes is on the trail of criminal mastermind Professor Moriarty. The serial killer and criminal allegedly carried out a string of random crimes across Europe. Professor Moriarty is a force to be reckoned with, not only for his intellectual capacity, but his capacity for evil and lack of conscience, which may give him an advantage over the renowned detective. Sherlock works alone since his old partner, Dr. John Watson, got married to Mary. This constraint ended their relationship. A disconsolate Sherlock Holmes occupies his time investigating the schemes of his archenemy, Professor James Moriarty. Sherlock's investigations point to Professor James Moriarty as responsible for the assassination of Austria's crown prince, Dr. Hofmannsthal. Sherlock had earlier intercepted a hidden bomb in the package delivered to Dr. Hofmannsthal. Soon after Dr. Watson and Mary's wedding, the couple made plans to spend their honeymoon in Brighton. Dr. Moriarty had considered the Watsons a legitimate target for his retaliation against the detective. He then caused an explosion on the couple. Holmes delivers Mary to the protection of his brother Mycroft. Soon, Holmes and Watson disclose that Professor Moriarty, the evil genius, and his dangerous associate, the skilled former Colonel Sebastian Morin, had bought arms and ammunition factories and are trying to start a war in Europe. The Sherlock Holmes franchise. Dr. Robert Downey Jr. took this a step further out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe when he played Sherlock Holmes, the bohemian scientist and detective for hire who solves mysteries and crimes. Sherlock Holmes first hit cinemas in 2009, and few could have foreseen that it would become quite the phenomenon. Since the second film, Game of Shadows, was released in 2011, Sherlock Holmes became an instantly recognizable name. In fact, Sherlock Holmes might be Robert Downey Jr.'s most prominent role after Iron Man. The intellectual capacity and intriguing character of Sherlock Holmes makes him stand out over the TV series. The film was so satisfactory for Warner Brothers that they immediately approved its sequel to be released in December 2021. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, will be premiering in 2021. Robert Downey Jr. deemed it to be fit as a prominent personality in the ever-growing MCU franchise. Now out of the MCU with over a decade of experience in the MCU, Robert is hoping to give the Sherlock franchise its own Holmes-inspired mystery verse. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is a universe created by Marvel Studios, centered on a series of superhero films, mostly adapted from the exclusive comic books. Robert Downey Jr. did play a key role in the ever-growing MCU franchise with Marvel, as the actor that played the role of Tony Stark, who is the CEO of Stark Industries and Avenger in the early years of the MCU. Robert also spent the next decade as the focal point of the franchise, and many fans had wondered whether Robert Downey Jr.'s intentions for the Sherlock Holmes movie involved adapting the main character as a superhero. The Marvel Cinematic Universe involves various popular superheroes, although in the case of Sherlock Holmes, having a superhero character is far from Iron Man's intentions. According to Robert Downey Jr. and his wife Susan Downey, who is also the producer, his big vision for Sherlock Holmes was to apply a Marvel Cinematic Universe strategy, but instead to the Sherlock Holmes film franchise, developing the Sherlock Universe for HBO Max. During the event of the Fast Company's Invitation Festival, Warner Brothers instantly approved the production of the Sherlock Holmes sequel to be released in December 2021. Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey have admitted that there have been dialogues in favor of a third Sherlock Holmes movie coming into the franchise. Owing to Robert Downey Jr.'s experience working in a shared universe, he was excited to announce the idea of a Sherlock Holmes mysteryverse. Susan Downey, his wife, stated, quote, "Doing a one-off third movie, we could do that. But we do think that there's opportunity to build it out more, to spin off some characters from the third movie, to see what's going on in the television landscape, to see how Warner Media is starting to build things out with HBO and HBO Max." She went on to say that, quote, "We definitely have some kind of grand scheme and plans and all that, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of coordination because, again, Marvel wasn't built in a day. It took several wins and things that worked very well for them to be able to connect together and for them to be able to branch out. Epics start with small, humble steps. Pay respects to your beginnings. Small beginnings are the launching pad to great things. Humble beginnings." Robert Downey Jr. and his wife, Susan Downey, have become the face of the franchise of the MCU, and the couple stated how there are no specific plans for the on-screen universe past. One thing is for certain, though, the Sherlock Holmes sequel will still be an extraordinary movie-going experience. In the words of Robert, quote, "I do think that the decade of tutelage and observation, what we were both able to have with Marvel, watching them build out and see all the opportunities, was invaluable. It was like a masterclass." Susan went on to even add, quote, "And they did know what they were doing, and they had this tight-knit group of people from the jump, locked into a vision that enables them to broaden, the comics that is." Robert himself even added, quote, "What I saw was very humble beginnings, very uncertain outcomes, a lot of creative risk-taking, but there was also an algorithm to the potential. It's also having the right people, different sensibilities, will get you different places downfield. Grand plans for Enola Holmes." Paying tribute to the availability of substantial and human resources, as well as star power, working in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is an enabling working environment to build aspirations and brainstorm on good ideas. After the release of Enola Holmes on Netflix, which is an adaptation from the novel series by Nancy Springer, Enola Holmes, Robert believes that Enola Holmes is already on its way to becoming Netflix's next big movie franchise. To this end, having plans put in place to turn it into a multi-film franchise is definitely a possibility. Enola is a character having to deal with the Victorian-era limitations which are put on girls and women in society. Sherlock and Mycroft's teen sister had established herself as a capital detective in her own right. The dynamics of the plot and the mystery at its center had set up a world that could easily be expanded into future times. Robert agreed that since Enola Holmes works to solve the mystery of her missing mother, it kind of leaves some questions unanswered, and some clues as to where a potential sequel might go. The Mystery Universe. The mastermind for the Sherlock universe is having a fictional universe from a set of creative works and joint development of the characters of Sherlock Holmes. Robert Downey Jr. does know a thing or two about cinematic universes. However, not all shared cinematic universes are created equal. The cinematic universe, also known as the shared cinematic universe, is no longer limited to comic book properties, but still, while some shared universes promise innovation and unprecedented big screen spectacles, the Mystery Universe audience will soon have a pretty clear idea of its approach to shared cinematic universe storytelling. Robert claimed why he wanted to do a sequel of the Sherlock Holmes franchise if you're not going to be able to spin it off into some real gems of diversity. The Mystery Universe is not about repeaters. The Downeys are interested in simply enacting the MCU formula. The intent is not to just try what's been done somewhere else, but rather to offer a better version. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Guy Ritchie's distinct approach to Arthur Conan Doyle's classic detective is proof that sequels can earn more than their predecessors. Conan Doyle is the definitive voice in matters of a mysteryverse built out of anywhere. The character of Sherlock Holmes is one such project, and while Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's detective has long been considered the most famous in the world, it was Guy Ritchie who sought to do the impossible, reimagine the character for a new audience. Robert Downey Jr. added that while he had grand schemes, they would not be easy to fulfill. With recent copyright claims from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's estate popping up, it's unclear of these grand plans for both Enola Holmes as well as the Mysteryverse franchise. Mystery Universe getting off the ground. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has become much more dimensionalized than it was before. If MCU could work several years of preparation to get to Avengers, it won't be an easy feat for the Mysteryverse, but they can pull it off. Just as the Marvel Cinematic Universe was not built in a day, neither will the Mysteryverse be. Marvel Cinematic Universe's secrets to becoming the most successful film franchise are the anticipation as well as optimism of the upcoming Marvel films, which were greeted heavily by fans. One major question on everyone's mind, though, is whether or not the Mysteryverse will ever get off the ground. We'll soon see if the franchise can find major box office success. In retrospect, there's really no guarantee that fans' anticipation and enthusiasm will equal Sherlock Holmes' predecessors. Robert Downey Jr. and his production team can only hope that the upcoming series of his audiences are in the right spot. Thank you for watching the video, and see you guys next time.